Hello! Oh, wow. I sound so low. Hang on. Testing. Hello! That's much better. Konlulu everyone! I'm your maid VTuber Lulubelle, and welcome to Just Chatting Stream, where we recap on the Resident Evil marathon we just finished. Yay! Yay! It's finally here. Oh my gosh. Man, after 3 weeks, we have finally finished Resident Evil marathon, and we finished Resident Evil Requiem. Holy crap! It doesn't feel real. I feel like I'm still back in like December, waiting for like 100 days until Requiem. So this doesn't feel real. Oh man, but I'm excited to get into it. I wrote down a couple notes so I don't stray too far. I don't rant about I don't go too crazy with ranting. I'm like a bit more structured. So I will be ranking all of the Resident Evil games that I've played. Obviously I haven't played Code Veronica, so I'll be skipping that. Resident Gaiden. But we have 3 new addition of Resident Evil games to rank. I'm really excited about that. So we have what is this? 3 for 5? 5 rankings. Let's see. Yeah, we have 5 rankings. And this one is obviously the best one. Rank S is the best. Rank D is the P. So I'm excited to get into it. And I'm really excited to hear your guys' your guys' ranking as well while we go through this. But yeah, welcome in Reg, welcome in CL, welcome in Zag, welcome in Ren, and hello to those lurking, those watching VOD. Let's get into it. So, did you guys enjoy Resident Evil Requiem? Well, actually, maybe we're getting a little too ahead. Maybe we'll take it one at a time. Let's see. Maybe we'll do it one at a time. Okay. Let's start with Resident Evil 0. Hang on, I need to readjust my settings. Because everything is kind of weird right now. How is this? I think that's pretty good. Okay, so the very first game that we played in this marathon, Resident Evil 0. Ah! Resident Evil 0! Ah! God. Oh man, that was so much fun. For Resident Evil 0, I would actually have to put it at grade A. Which, it does have its flaws. One of the flaws being that I felt like maybe some parts of the game felt incomplete. Maybe slightly underdeveloped. Which, I kind of want to know why. Like, were certain things just cut or something? I'm not sure, but the game just felt incomplete. Like, for example, I expected us to fight the tyrant like 3 times in total, but that just never happened, which would make sense because that would mean that we would make Rebecca fight. She would be fighting Rebecca would be fighting the tyrant like about twice. First time was in Resident Evil 0. The second time would be in Resident Evil 1, and maybe that's a little too repetitive and a bit too chaotic. So I guess that would make sense that they cut that out and instead made them fight freaking Marcus. So that's why instead of putting it at rank S or putting it at S, I'm gonna keep it at A because some parts of it did feel incomplete. And I think that's about it. I did notice. I did notice that the AI. I noticed how flawed the AI was on my second playthrough. The first time it was just okay. I was like, okay, Billy, you're kind of reliable. You're shooting at zombies that I can't even see on the screen, so it's like totally fine. So I felt like he was reliable. But on my second playthrough, that's when I noticed that it was a bit more, the flaws were a bit more noticeable. I remember I was relying on Billy to attack, but he just kind of stood there, or got in the way. Or sometimes he would just walk towards the zombies as well. And I'm not saying that this makes the game bad. I'm just saying that I noticed the flaws this time around. But yeah, those are the reasons why I'm putting this at 8. But aside from that, there's plenty of positive things about this game as well. For example, Billy's send-off was so memorable. It's so... I just think about it all the time. Like, Billy's just a nicely written character. Like, he's obviously very corny, but he's so charismatic in his own way. And not only that, but his portrayal of masculinity is also kind of attractive too. He's strong and he's capable, but also, like, he can also have vulnerable moments. Like that one time he had a PTSD flashback when he saw the pile of zombie bones at the sewer once. And he kind of had this flashback to his old mission. I thought that was really cool. Makes him very relatable. So I really enjoyed Billy's character. Not only that, but another part that I really liked about Resident Evil 0 was the inventory management. I think it's just relaxing. Like, it was kind of like a puzzle on its own, like deciding, okay, I need to get this item because where I'm going we'll need this key item, yada yada. So, planning ahead and inventory management was really relaxing and fun. So I really like that. And what else? I think another thing that I really enjoy about Resident Evil 0 is not really the game, but the memories that I associate with it. When I think about Resident Evil 0, I think about the Billy send-off, and a lot of other things, but I also think about the late night grinding that I had to do with chat. So I really appreciated the company, and because of that, I kind of associate this game with comfort. So it's kind of high up in the rank because of that as well. It's associated with comfort because of the cozy late night grinding with chat. Other memorable parts, freaking Marcus. Oh my god. He was so cringe. Why, Marcus? Why? I just can't take him seriously because he kind of shows up, you know, singing opera, and then not only that, but he, you know, when he dies in a very tragic way. People found no use for him, so he got tossed aside. Quite literally, he gets sent down to the sewers and he dies. But the funny thing about the way he dies is when we see him, he's shown like lifeless. His eyes are open, but more than anything, his tongue is out too. Like, he died in such a cartoonishly hilarious way. I just couldn't believe it. Like, everything about Marcus, I just can't take seriously. He's just so unserious. Only cartoon characters die like that. Not aura farming villains. But to me, the other part that's really memorable about Resident Evil 0, it's gotta be Marcus. I just can't take him seriously. Aside from that, the Wesker and William Birkin's rivalry was pretty cool. We got to read more on them, I think. Yeah. And yeah, it was just a very comforting game. I really like I know the design and the soundtrack is spooky, but there is something so comforting about spooky. I'm not sure. I really can't explain it, but that's just how it comes off to me. But yeah, so Resident Evil 0 is up there. Hang on, I need to drink some water. Rebecca fighting Rebecca sounds funny though. Sorry, I had to slip up. But you know, there is an evil version of Rebecca. What happens if we pit two Rebeccas against each other? One is evil and one is good. What happens? Who will win? Maybe it's kind of a thing that just happens forever. Like they just keep fighting forever and ever. Hello, welcome in, Manolo. Did I miss the hot take? No, these are... I feel like all the takes that I have for Resident Evil are very common. Oh, there are no hot takes, unfortunately. I could try to make one. What is a hot take I can do? I honestly think... maybe I'll get to it later. It's about one of these games. But I don't think it's a hot take because people seem to also... There seems to be a group of people that also think the same. But yeah, Lulu. The idea of Resident Evil being cozy is kind of funny. I know, it's like what do you call it when you put two things next to each other but they're opposites? An oxymoron? Hyperbole? Hang on. What is that word? Oh, okay. An oxymoron is a figure of speech in which apparently contradictory terms appear in conjunction. Example, faith, unfaithful, kept him falsely true. Yeah, it's an oxymoron, right? But it is. It is. Oh, juxtaposition. Yeah. But it is so comfy. It is so comfy. Okay, next game is Resident Evil. Ah! Okay, I am putting this straight to S. Oh wait, I just realized that it's not even fully showing on stream. Yeah, I'm immediately putting Resident Evil 1 on the S rank because it's just that good. It just is. So on my second playthrough, I ended up playing as Chris again instead of Jill, so I missed out on the whole Jill and Barry duo. Hopefully I get to play Jill's route next time. But yeah, I played as Chris again, and instead of his usual self, I played as the BSA version, the BSAA version, and it was very it was very fun. Let's see what happened. Yeah, I mean, I think the gameplay went pretty smoothly. The reason why I'm putting it on the S rank is because the gameplay was 10 out of 10. Like, the enemies were genuinely super fun to fight against. The combat felt very satisfying, like especially slashing down the zombies with the knife. And I felt like a knife run seems kind of doable in the future because it's like a perfect balance of, you know, fun and challenging. What else? Oh, right. The mansion backtracking was actually genuinely enjoyable. Like, I liked having to pick up a item that's on the other side of the mansion and then bringing it to the opposite side. Like, I don't know why, the backtracking was really fun. Not only that, but the inventory management was fun too. And yeah, every part of the gameplay just felt intentional and fun. Not only is the gameplay 10 out of 10, but the comfort is 10 out of 10 too. Again, it's the same thing with Resident Evil 0. It's a horror game, but there was something so comforting about it. And there's something comforting about the map design. Something comforting about the sound design, the background music. And again, similar to Resident Evil 0, I associate the game with the cozy late night grinding with chat. So because of that, I associate it with warm memories. So yeah, I give it a solid S break. 10 out of 10. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I think one part that I would have to... I don't think it's a nitpick though. I don't think it's a nitpick. I was gonna say, like, I wish that they did more with Wesker in Resident Evil 1, but I'm sure it was intentional, so I don't think I consider it a flaw. But part of me does wish that we could have done more with Wesker in the game, because he kind of just gets slashed down and he goes bleh. So that's my wish, but I don't consider it a flaw really. And another thing is, I kind of wish I could time travel back to the day when this game got released, so I can compare it to other games of that era and see how unique it is compared to its peers. Yeah, so I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Resident Evil, S break. What about Evil Chris? What does an Evil Chris even look like? Wait, I think we established that was Mr. X. The opposite of good Chris is Mr. X. Wait, I think I can kind of see that though. I can kind of see that. The Crimson Heads really made the zombies scary in that game. Yeah, like the regular zombies were fine. Especially if there were only like 1 or 2 in a room. Any more than that, then it gets really overwhelming. But once you take down the zombies, yeah, the true horror of those zombies were the Crimson Heads. They were such a pain to deal with. You do tend to call huge body horror monsters beautiful, which is respectable, but also somewhat intimidating. But man, I wonder if you guys... Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I have a Miss Meow Meow on me. Hello? Okay, goodbye. What was I talking about? Oh, but you guys know what I mean, right? The way they model and color these monsters is genuinely so beautiful. Like the color, I don't know, I think it's just mostly the color, how well it, just the color palette is very beautiful to me. I'm seeing it through an artist lens, you know? You shouldn't step on my keyboard, what the heck? Chris with Wesker glasses and a flatter butt. Why does evil Chris have a flatter butt? Unbelievable. Evil Chris. Ugh, unthinkable. It's even more unthinkable to imagine a Chris with a flat butt. Anyway, I will put Resident Evil 1 in the S rank. So the next game is... Where are you? Resident Evil 2, but I did the remake. Where's the remake? Oh, here it is. Yes! Here it is! And the cool thing about this Resident Evil marathon is that we did a knife only run this time around. It wasn't just a regular playthrough, it was a knife run challenge. Well, it was also a knife run and a grenade. It was a knife grenade only run. And it was very, very fun. I would like to cut the time. How long have I played it for? Like 6 hours? I would like to cut the time down to 2 hours next. That's my end goal. So hopefully next time we can achieve that goal. But yeah, we did a Claire A knife grenade only run, which we completed in about 6-7 hours. And I felt like it went pretty well. It was my first challenge. Aside from that, I felt like the game was pretty solid. It was short and sweet, and it didn't feel like anything was really lacking. I am a little bit sad about the cut content, but again, I felt like it was still a pretty solid game overall. Apparently, actually, never mind. Forget it. I was just gonna go on a rant that didn't make any sense. I'm gonna put Resident Evil 2 on the S rank because of how solid of a game it was. Again, it was just short and sweet. It just felt like a perfect short game. What I really liked about the game was that both Leon and Claire's felt very iconic. But between the two, I would say that Claire's is my favorite. And the reason for that is, it feels like the most canon route to me. I can't really explain why. I think it might be because she got to fight Birkin, like... Wait, was it Birkin? She got to have like 2 more boss fights after Birkin G3, and I think maybe that's why it felt more memorable. Even if both campaigns had iconic moments, it just felt that Claire's route just felt more like the counter route to me. Hang on, I need to drink water. What else? I think I don't consider this a flaw, but what I personally didn't like about Leonce's route was the prison dog area. Oh my god, I thought it was so annoying. But again, I don't think it's a flaw. It's just an added challenge that I do not like. I thought it was just too annoying. But I've seen videos where people will... there's this Resident Evil guy that I like to watch always, and he just like... he knows how to read those zombie dogs like a book. So I know that there are people out there who can just read the zombie dogs like a book, but I cannot read them. I cannot read them like they can, so it's still a challenge to me. Therefore, I don't really like it. So I'm glad that in Claire's route we get to just skip that completely, and it's just liquors. Another thing I really liked about Claire's route was her relationship with Cherry. I think it's just genuinely, it is just so sweet what they have with each other. And yeah, that's why I really like Claire's route. And what else? Oh! Resident Evil 2 has my favorite stalker of all time. Like, I know that we get another stalker in 8, We have another stalker in 3, but that one's more scripted. Oh, and we have a stalker in 7 as well. But out of all of them, the one that feels the most intimidating for me is Mr. X in Resident Evil 2. He's very easy to read because you can hear him from far away, and you can basically loop him in certain rooms. But I don't know, his AI just seems very advanced compared to the other games. So I like him a lot more better. I like the pressure that he puts on me when he's chasing me down. So those are one of the things that make Resident Evil 2 so great for me. It's the stalker and the fact that the game just feels really solid. And next time I would like to do the Resident Evil knife run a lot more shorter this time. Like ideally 2 hours, if not at least 4. His evil plans get in the way of working on his glutes. Chris? Oh my god! No! I don't want to live in a reality where that is the case. So far, this tier is smooth. Yeah? Do we approve of this so far? Imagine what a knife-only run would look like from an in-universe perspective. Some lunatic refuses to use guns on the zombies and somehow wins. Yeah, like... Imagine you're like in a Resident Evil 6 setting and just some guy decides to give the guns to you guys, and then it's like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing and just knife only run to all of the zombies, and he wins. That's so badass. Imagine how much aura that you farm just from that alone. I'm reminded of a post I saw about someone LARPing as a knight in the zombie apocalypse, only for it to actually prove effective. Oh really? Wait, that sounds so creative and fun. It sounds campy in a very, very fun way. Had me worried for a sec on Resident Evil 2 remake placement. Oh, it being on B? No. This is a solid S. Okay, next one is Resident Evil 3. So I can't remember where I placed this last time, but I think it might have been B. Unfortunately, I am bumping this down to rank C. I worry the next time I do another Resident Evil just chatting stream like this, I'm afraid that it's gonna bump down to D. We'll see. But this has bumped down to C, and the reason for that is the more that I think on it, the more I can help but feel critical about this game. There are just some parts of it that I feel unsatisfied with. It just doesn't feel like it lives up to the quality that the other Resident Evil games have. For example, like, I think releasing Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Remake was a very powerful marketing move on Capcom's part. Like, it really is genius because, I mean, they take place in the same setting, right? So it makes a lot of sense. But unfortunately, I think it hurt Resident Evil 3's production. And low-key, I kind of feel like it also came at the expense of the team's health as well, like their physical and mental well-being too. So it just, I don't know, it just seems like it was a good idea on paper, but by execution, maybe not. Maybe if they had like a good 10 years to release both games together, but I don't know. It really is such a shame. Like, people tell me about all the content that got cut from the Resident Evil 3, And it makes me like wish, like, oh, I wonder what it would have been like. Oh, hey, welcome in, Raiders! Welcome in, Kayla? Thank you so much for coming by. We're just talking about Resident Evil, We're talking about Resident Evil because we just finished the marathon, yesterday. This is, I don't want to say that this is not a spoiler-free stream, so if you guys are still playing through Resident Evil Requiem, you might have to mute. I appreciate you guys coming by. Welcome, welcome. Hope stream went well. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Resident Evil 3 remake just felt a bit lacking. It felt lacking in content. Nemesis being a scripted stalker made his appearance a bit underwhelming compared to Mr. X. Cause Mr. X just kind of hones in on you and uses his resources, like his hearing abilities, his seeing abilities, as best as possible. But for Nemesis, I believe it was just... I remember some people saying that it was scripted, so... yeah, that... I'm a little... unhappy about that. And another thing I'm a little upset about is I wish that Jill's character was more realized. Like, for example, the way that she is in Resident Evil 3 Remake is actually fine. Like, I like that there are times where she's portrayed as a very fierce character, and I think that look, that fierce and angry look on her is such a good... It's just such a good expression on her, I feel. I don't know. So I kind of wish that they would utilize that more and have Jill turn to kind of like a John Wick character where she's a very like a vengeful and scary figure that people are kind of scared to cross. I remember at some point in Resident Evil 9, Leon was coming out of an office and a whole bunch of, well, what is it called? Elite guards started coming at him. And even despite him being outnumbered, he still managed to calmly take them all down. Seeing Resident Evil 9 Leon being portrayed that way made me briefly think about Jill. Like, oh my gosh, I wish Jill was that character. Like, despite how many people are coming towards her, she just knocks them all down. I think it will be really, really cool. Oh, what? Third games being stinkers is a common enough phenomenon that TV Tropes has or had a page for it. What? Really? Oh, I didn't know that. Third games. Oh, I mean, I hear that, what is it called? Little Nightmares? The game with the hooded, the yellow raincoat kid, right? Yeah, that's the phenomenon that happened with Little Nightmares as well. That's interesting. Is sub only still on? It is, unfortunately. Resident Evil Requiem spoiler. Blizzard dies at the end. No, you can't talk about the spoilers. But yeah, those are my wishes of Resident Evil 3. I wish they didn't cut too much content. And I wish they did more with Jill, but it is what it is, right? Oh, one thing I am satisfied with Resident Evil 3 Remake was the fight at the very end where Jill is facing off the huge nemesis and she takes him down with that one huge gun. That was so anime, and that was so cool. I really enjoyed that part. Okay, next is Resident Evil 4 Remake. This is immediately going to rank S. Immediately. It's oh my god. I could skip to any part of the game in Resident Evil 4 Remake and always have something positive to say about that section. Like, the map design is super strong. For example, you start out at a hunter's lodge and it progresses to a village, then to a lake, and eventually you go to a castle. And I feel like the progression of each map just feels so natural, and it just makes a lot of sense. So the map design was really good. The story pacing is really good as well. The melee was satisfying. Actually, on my second playthrough, I felt like I was able to enjoy the melee even more because my brain wasn't focused on trying to understand the plot. So I had so much fun with the melee on my second playthrough. It makes me think. It makes me want to do a Resident Evil 4 Remake knife only run. No, I want to do a no damage knife only run with only Krauser's segment. Like, I really like the melee, but my favorite part of that entire game really is the Krauser segment. I just have so much fun with it. It's just so satisfying doing a parry with Krauser and also beating the heck out of him. I want to master that segment really bad. Another thing that I really liked about the melee was the rifle as well. I really enjoyed sniping the enemies. I think at some point I took down an enemy that was almost 2 maps away. Excuse me. Yeah, I took down an enemy that was like almost 2 maps away, and that felt so incredible. Like, that shot connecting, even though he was like super far away. I was like, there was just no way, and yet it happened. So the game just feels really advanced. Not only that, but Resident Evil 4 Remake was also my first Resident Evil game, so everything they introduced to me was just memorable. Trying to think. I remember when I was first playing through Resident Evil 4, when we switched over to Ashley, my mind was blown because I was like, what? I never knew that was Resident Evil's thing. Like, I didn't know that they had second protagonist. So when we switched over to Ashley, I was like, what the heck? I played through Ashley's route, and her route was also pretty immersive. Like, I felt, even though I was pretty much powerless because I didn't have the resources like Leon did, the fact that I was still able to weave in and out, and the game gave me a really fun challenge, and Ashley's route was very satisfying. Holy crap. What else? I talked about melee, I talked about Ashley. Oh, and Ashley's route, when I saw those knights, my mind was blown. I was like, this is such a classic horror trope. The knights just kind of, the haunted knights moving on its own. But Resident Evil 4 took that and they did a scientific spin on it. I don't know, but when I realized that, I was like, oh my god, that is just so creative. So yeah, I realized, it was at that point I realized, like, oh, Resident Evil takes horror tropes and gives a scientific twist to it. That's really creative. I really enjoyed the franchise for that. What else? We talked about Ashley. I also find Luis a very compelling and complicated character, and I really enjoyed seeing that. You know, he's like a contributor to Umbrella's wrongdoings, and he realizes that, so he tries to redeem himself by helping out Leon. And it's not that he gets a happy ending, but the fact that he took accountability for it and he tried to redeem himself in the best way as he can was very admirable. And his send-off was pretty good too when he asks Leon, what did he ask Leon? He was like, are people capable of change? It was just so written so well. So I have nothing good to say about, sorry, I have nothing but good things to say about Resident Evil 4 Remake. Sorry guys. It's like my bedtime right now. For those of you that don't know this, because of the Resident Evil marathon, I've been sleeping in really late. So my sleep schedule is like all over the place, and I managed to fix it. But now I go to sleep at like grandma hours, like 8 p.m., 8 p.m., 10 p.m. So I'm like really all over the place. So if I don't make sense, I apologize. No, chat, please be understanding. I beg of you. I also need to drink a lot of water too. Not defending the game, but it was a different team that worked on it. Oh, right! I keep forgetting about that. Right. The Capcom... Right, the internal production was split into 2 different teams. I keep forgetting about that note. I'll have to keep that in mind. With Little Nightmares 3, that was a different team and company making it. Oh, right, I forgot about that too. Right. I remember being for third games, was actually for second ones. Oh, really? So the second games are always bad? Uh-oh. Hello, welcome in, Richard. Good evening, Lulu. I'm always happy to see that thumbnail of yours. How beautiful your smile truly is. That is so sweet. Thank you. Hopefully the itchy, tasty discussion is going well. Dude, I'm having so much fun. I can't wait for I can't wait to talk about Revelations. I have nothing good to say about Resident Evil 4 Remake. Evil. You guys knew. You guys know what I was trying to say. Evil maid Lulubelle. Ulubulos. Oh, you really like that Resident Evil 3 remake. Resident Evil 3 remake isn't without its good moments too. I really like the dodge ability in Resident Evil 3, cause it makes for good it makes for, I don't know, I felt like that part was pretty satisfying. What else? I think the whole hospital scene was pretty scary and was a fun challenge. I also remember throwing hands with a couple of hunters as Carlos too, and I thought that was really fun. So Resident Evil 3 Remake isn't without its good moments, but I feel like unfortunately the cons, for me, kinda outweighs the pros. But that's the thing with Resident Evil games, right? There's always a game for every fan. Wesker Belt, that is so cute. If you get another cat, you should name him Albert Whiskers. Oh, cute. Maybe. Wesker Bell sounds awesome. My name is Wesker Bell. Resident Evil 3 Remake has good bones, it just needed more time in the oven. Exactly, exactly. It was just unfortunate. It was just unfortunate. It's not without its good parts. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Resident Evil 4. So yeah, oh, whoops. Sorry guys. Resident Evil 4 Remake is just super, super good. And it's going... Oh, sorry. Lowered it down too much. Resident Evil 4 on the top of the list. Genuinely so good. And then after Resident Evil 4 was Revelations 1. So this is also going down to rank C next to Resident Evil 3 Remake. And the reason for that is I feel like maybe the story was a bit absurd. Like, the story pacing was okay. The story itself was just okay. But for me, it was more funny than anything. Like, for example, I remember the story takes place at a cruise ship called Queen Zenobia. Right, wait, right? Zenobia? So that's our setting. Something happens. Jill is like, oh my god, I need help. And Chris comes to the rescue, only to find out there was actually a second ship. And it was Queen Zenobia's sister ship. The story was like, okay, cool. We'll try to work with this. But only for the audience to realize there was actually a third ship as well. So the fact that there were not only one ship, not only two ships, but 3 whole ships this game takes place in, I thought that the whole pacing was really really absurd and funny. Also, another thing that I found funny was the fact that Chris in that entire game never cracked a single smile. Like, bro was locked the fuck in. He was like, not only that, but he was also dodging Jessica's advancements too. Him doing that and also not smiling at all was just too funny. I don't know. This game was C for chaos. So that's why I'm putting this down here. But this is the game that was supposed to come out in the 3DS, right? It makes me want to play it on the 3DS now. Excuse me. The whale boat fight was cool. The whale boat fight. Whale boat fight. Which scene was that? Was that when Chris and Jessica were on their way to Jill? For me, I think the fight that was the coolest in Resident Evil Revelations might have been the Jill and Parker part, where we were fighting this clam monster and I ran out of bullets twice, and so I decided to end its life with a knife, and it took us a while, but we managed to get it right. I think that part was pretty cool. Oh, you know what? I do like that about Revelations. I liked how challenging the boss fights were. It really lived up to the name, like, boss fights. So I really appreciated the challenges. It was a fight where you shoot at the boss from a helicopter. Oh! Right. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because Chris and Jill hop on a helicopter. They're like, let's take it down. Maybe he was supposed to be on vacation. That's why he's not smiling. Poor guy. Like, I'm supposed to be in Europe right now. Excuse me. You guys mind if I put a little song in the background that you guys can't hear? Where is it? You guys hear my music? Hopefully not. The marketing for Revelations was weird. At first it was all Chris is keeping a secret and confronting Jill, and then it never happened. What? What? Chris was keeping a secret? What secret? And, can Chris keep a secret? Check the first trailer. Oh my god. What are we gonna find out? Okay, let me look it up then. There's an evil... Oh, oops. Wrong keyboard. Revelations trailer. Holy crap, this came out 15 years ago. Which one is the first trailer? Here, we'll watch it together. Hang on. Oops. Oh my gosh. One moment. Oops. Excuse me, holy crap. My apologies, everyone. I'm just very eepy. Yep, once again entered the world of survival horror. Is that what it says? 2005 in the Mediterranean Sea.
When? How? We're not certain.
Wait, what? Sorry.
With Chris and Jess. We lost contact with Chris and Jessica. When? How? We're not certain. I've sent their last known coordinates to your terminals.
But the interpolation from their last known coordinates puts them...
right here on this ship.
Oh, right.
What happened?
No one's saying Chris is dead.
Alright, then let's find him already.
Oh, you mean a different trailer? This isn't it? Okay. How about this one? Maybe it's this one. Yeah, you can't send links in chat. Whoa! Whoa!
Somehow, I always manage to come through. Not this time. I messed up.
Oh.
You think you'll get away with this?
Oh.
I already have, Jill.
Do you have it?
Maybe. You'll have to kill me to find out.
What?
And what would you do if you found it? It doesn't matter, because you're already.
Huh? What?
Not this time.
Why is he so bratty in this one?
I messed up.
Where is it? Where's the bratty part?
You think you'll get away with this?
I already have, Jill.
Do you have it?
Maybe. You'll have to kill me to find out.
Yeah, why is he so bratty? What the hell? That's great, that's great. You're gonna have to kill me to find out. Oh my god, wait, we were just talking about Evil Chris. There's Evil Chris. That was that Evil Chris? Yeah, that was Evil Chris. Oh my god. Was actually a cool trailer. Yeah, it's very unique. It's very different from the actual game. Oh, you know what? Actually, oh no, I might have to bump this to rank B because I just remembered the last fight where Jill is kicking the one guy's butt, and he can do like a really cool illusion tricks. That fight was so fun. But man, I don't know. If only there was a slot right in between here. I have to kind of bump this game up because of how good that fight was. Mechanically, it was that game was very that fight was very enjoyable. They never did anything with this? Yeah, like I was well, at least we could maybe the team just really wanted to show shirtless Chris. They're like, what can we I really want to make a scene where Chris is shirtless and he's tied up, but I don't know what to really I don't know how to make it relevant. And then the marketing team was like, alright, I got you. Don't worry about it. They're like, thank you. Thank you, marketing team. Yeah, Evil Chris is real. Evil Chris is real and he's weirdly bratty. A secret letter. Yeah, the secret letter that can only be found between B and C. Oh, let me actually tell you guys something even scarier. The secret letter that is found between the letter A and the letter Z. Because you know how it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Then it goes back to A, right? What is the letter that is interlinking A and Z? Think about that. The final Tyrant of Revelations is so good. It is. I remember being really locked in for that fight. always added extra tier. True, true. We'll just keep it simple for now. But I think I'm gonna keep Resident Evil Revelations in rank B, just for that final tyrant fight alone. Favorite balance of mechanics and difficulty, even in Inferno difficulty. Oh. Yeah, I really want to try Inferno. Oh, the hyphen? Oh. ... We found the secret letter, everyone. The hyphen. Alright. So, final rank. This is staying at B. Okay, next is Resident Evil 5, right? So we did 4, next is 5. Ta-da! This one I am keeping at... yeah, I'm keeping it at rank A. And the reason for that is because of vibes. Just by vibes alone, moved all the way up to rank A. The gameplay was super fun. Yeah, felt really fun. It was nice seeing Wesker and Sheva again. Actually, on my second playthrough, I was able to... It allowed me to feel out the game more, and which resulted in me noticing Sheva a bit more. I got to study Sheva a little bit more this time, and I've come to really enjoy her character. I really like how dignified and determined she is at achieving her goals. The way that she cares, she looks after her partner and the BSAA team that she belongs in. I thought that was a very attractive trait of her. She just... And not only that, but she's also like super strong too. Like the fact that she's able to keep up with Chris only speaks volumes of her fighting abilities. So I think she's gotta be up there in the strongest partners list. I think she's up there with... For me personally, my top 3 favorite partners in Resident Evil are Billy, Pierce, and Sheva. I think she's really cool. Aside from that, I think the campiness was really good too. Wesker really delivered with the camp. Oh man. Yeah, it was a pleasure seeing Wesker again. 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you. Yeah, aside from that, really love Resident Evil 5 for its real world commentary as well. Like the fact that it addresses the whole like oppression in Africa through corporate greed. And yeah, I think for me it reinforces why I love the Resident Evil franchise so much. I think it's so punk for not being afraid to touch on real world problems like that, alongside action. And yeah, so that's why it goes all the way up here. 5 has the best co-op and gave us one of the best Wesker performances. I agree. I agree. It's like one of my favorite Weskers. I think my favorite Wesker really is the one from Resident Evil 5 and the one in Resident Evil 0 or 1. I like both. They're very attractive and cool. Resident Evil 5B, maybe. C, solo. Co-op is S. Ooh! That's a good rank. Oh, you're saying Resident Evil 5 B, maybe C solo, and co-op is S. Ah, got it, got it. Josh was such a nice character. I'm glad he survived. Oh, right! He's the helicopter guy at the end. Yeah! I'm glad that he survived too. The bonus CL add-on made the game lots of fun. Exactly. Exactly. Always such a pleasure playing with her. It gave us the holy boulder punching scene. I remember at that fight, we were all just going out. We used all of our strongest weapons. Complete global saturation. So good. To punctuate that one point of commentary on politics, Chris has a really cool quote. The starting area of your idol for a while. I think I know what you're talking about. Which really, for me, that's also the reason why Resident Evil 5 Chris is one of my favorite Chris's as well. It's just really good. Shame we can't. Oh, nice. Doesn't Village Loki imply that Chris also punched another boulder off screen? Oh, did they? No, I missed it if they did, but I know they mentioned what's it called? What's it called? Oh, right. I know that Heisenberg mentions that Chris just punched a boulder. So yeah, overall, I'm putting Resident Evil 5 on rank A. Hello? Okay, awesome. Okay, here it is. Finally, I get to talk about Revelations 2. Oh my god. Okay, so in this marathon, I played Revelations and Revelations 2 for the very first time. Revelations 1 was okay. Revelations 2, however, is a perfect 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Obviously it does have its flaws, but I feel like it was a very solid game. I think it is actually I think it rivals. Actually, never mind. But I'm keeping it at rank S, and here is my reasoning for it. I believe the horror aspect of Revelations 2 was a solid 10 out of 10. I felt like it was the most horrifying Resident Evil for this reason. So we all know that Resident Evil 7 is probably one of the scariest Resident Evil games. For me, the reason for that is because Resident Evil 7 utilizes the first person perspective. And the first person is already such an intimate tool, because it puts everything right front and center in front of your face, right? It scares you by putting dangerous people or dangerous things right in front of your eyes. How Revelations 2, however, executes their horror is, in my opinion, a little bit better. They work with third perspective, right? So they have that. I think the way that they execute their horror is a bit more better because they don't really hand feed you the horror. Does that make sense? They execute horror and they make you inhabit it, as opposed to like hand feeding you the horror. The first horror that we encounter is not an enemy, but rather your coworker, Gina, I believe, who grabs Claire as soon as we see her. And when we look at the coworker, her face is pale as hell. It's like pale as a ghost. And to add to the horror, there's blood dripping down her face. And the blood isn't just like, you know, whatever. It's like bright red. And the contrast of the bright red with her pale skin was such a horrifying image. And I think what's even more shocking about that scene was the tragedy of it. You don't know what happened to your coworker, but she dies. And she dies looking really, really scary. And it kind of, that moment really sets the tone of the entire game. Because the next set of monsters that we see are weird too. Like, we've seen all sorts of monsters in the Resident Evil franchise. But for some reasons, the one in Revelations 2 are just somehow different. Just somehow a bit more scarier. And they move weird too than the rest of the Resident Evil monsters. And to add to it, the environment is also scary too. For example, there's like manic scribbles on the walls saying Natalia. There's like dolls hanging down from the ceilings. Excuse me. So that's why I feel like Revelations 2 was a bit scarier than Resident Evil 7. While Resident Evil 7, it basically forces the fear on you, I feel like Revelations 2 kind of makes you live inside of it, kind of makes you feel like you're living in a nightmare. And that's what I really appreciated about that game. It also makes you wonder if, because the game isn't mainline, it makes you wonder, like, was it allowed to be a bit more unhinged with its horror? So I don't know. That's just kind of the thought that I had. Maybe because it's not a mainline game, it had a bit more freedom to go a little bit more crazier with its scares. Not only that, but what was it? I talked about horror. Oh, I also think that the story was done so well in Revelations 2. Which one should I talk about first? Well, okay, so I think the cool thing about Revelations 2 is that the game already works at a disadvantage. For example, it's a sideline game, and not only that, but it's also an episodic release. On top of that, another disadvantage it has is that they're introducing characters that aren't as popular as characters like Chris, Jill, and Leon. Instead, we have Claire, Barry, and a new character named Moira and Natalia. And even despite these disadvantages, I feel like they still managed to pull off a very well-paced and well-executed story. For example, we have Moira, who we've never met before, but she's basically like a young adult who's trying to prove herself in a world that still views her as a kid. And then we have Barry, who's stubborn and he's kind of rigid, but deep down you know that he's still trying really hard to be a good dad. And both characters are kind of paired with both characters are paired with characters who foil them very nicely, and because of the relationship that these characters have with those characters, I feel like it moves along the story in a very natural way. For example, Claire wants to find out the truth, and so therefore she's naturally progressing the story. She has a foil character who's Moira, who mostly just wants to get out of this whole area entirely. So they both kind of, because of their desires, they're naturally moving the story along. And the really cool thing about their dynamic is that it basically foils Barry and Natalia's dynamic as well. Barry wants to find the truth, and Natalia doesn't really want to stay here either. She wants to just get out of this whole area. So I feel like it kind of parallels both protagonists' dynamics very well. Another good storytelling that I've observed with Revelations 2 is the same thing with Resident Evil 5 and any other games, is that they touch up on, again, real-world commentaries. They talk about how greedy corporations basically exploit isolated communities and offer people what they want in exchange for money and control. And it's a reality that a lot of people live in, and I feel like it was very ballsy of them to bring that up. And yeah, it's one of the primary reasons why I really love the franchise so much. Hang on, I need to drink some water. Yeah, but the story for Revelations 2 is just, I don't know, it's just so well done. Another thing I wanted to talk about was Alex Wesker's presence. I think the way that they write her control, like her presence, I think that the way they write Alex's indirect presence in the entire island, I find that very interesting. Because her presence, she's not really shown outright at all in the beginning of the story, but her presence is felt through the journals, through the people that you encounter, and through the environment. And she basically, it basically feels like she owns the place that you're confined in, and I think that's kind of terrifying. Like, she doesn't exude her dominance actively, but it's all passive, and I really love that subtle storytelling. The only downside is that I wish that she was kind of a separate character, just someone that's not associated with Albert Wesker. But I can also see why it was a necessity. They kind of want to make her, I don't know, I can see why they would introduce her as Alex Wesker and not someone entirely new. What else? Yeah, I think some flaws of the game was that some parts of the game felt a little bit stretched, a bit too stretched out. But maybe I'll come to like the game. Maybe I'll come to really like that part of the game a bit more, maybe like the second time that I play it. Yeah, so Revelations 2 is up there for those reasons. I think the storytelling is really good. And I think the horror's really done really well. Like, I remember at some point, like, I cried so much because I was reading one of the NPC's diary. And I also was like crying so much. And I found out about how Barry has such a fondness for Moira and just his family in general, and I was like, oh, this is so sweet. It really is that simulator. Resident Evil, that simulator. So that was okay. I really liked it. You know, now that I think of it, isn't the whole Requiem memory thing the same thing that Alex Wesker wanted to pull off with Natalia? Oh, you're right. Cause Alex wanted to do like a brain trade-off. Yeah, you're right. Huh. And I felt like maybe they mentioned Revelations 2 in Requiem. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm mistaking it for a different game. It was intriguing and added a perspective to Resident Evil. Yeah, I really appreciated everything that Resident Evil 2 did. Resident Evil Revelations 2 did. It felt like I got to see a glimpse of what the team, what the Resident Evil team wanted to do with the other Resident Evil games, but maybe due to limitations they weren't able to, so they got to flex it a little bit in Revelations 2. That's how it came off to me as. So I really like the ballsiness, the boldness of Revelations 2, so that's why it's up there. Yeah. So that was that. Resident Evil 4, we did 5. Next is Resident Evil 6. Verse 6. Oh. Resident Evil 6. So for this game, unfortunately, I will be putting this down to rank C. Honestly, I can't decide where to put this game at. Because I feel like it only goes down from rank A to rank B, or maybe a rank C, only because of its strange storytelling. I still need to sit down and really flesh out what it is that I feel off about Resident Evil 6. But the first thing that comes into mind really is because I think in this era of gaming, I feel like edginess was the trend of that time. So I think because the game was trying to lean towards the edginess of it all, it kind of lost its charm. So I am only putting this down to rank B only because of the story. Other than that, I think the gameplay is a solid 10 out of 10. The melee is amazing. On my second playthrough, I've finally played with a real person and not an AI, and I just had so much fun. And that's why I think that's why it's not at C or any lower. That's because the melee is genuinely so fun. I also felt like even if the writing was a bit off, I still really enjoyed Chris's campaign. Pierce's send-off was really sad and it still weighs down on my heart very heavily. Yeah, but I'm gonna continue thinking, like fleshing out why exactly Resident Evil 6 feels a bit off for me, especially in storytelling. I think I don't know what it is. Like, I'll think on it. I think if I were to close this conversation off, it would be the whole Helena story. I felt like the fact that she kept pushing off the whole like, oh, I'll tell you later thing was maybe a little too outrageous. Because we would move from one point to another, and even if Helena promised, yeah, I'll tell you when we get to this part, she still finds a way to postpone her exposition. So I did feel like that part was a bit off, but I'll let you guys know maybe on the next Resident Evil Just Chatting stream why this feels a bit off. But other than that, solid 10 out of 10 gameplay. Really, really fun game to play, especially with another person. Still have no idea how the hell they got Revelations 2 to run on a PS... What? What? Really? That is so cool. Can we run Revelations 2 on a 3DS? Resident Evil 6 has an amazing gameplay and spectacularly fails at everything else. I remember at some point I was able to microwave a hand, and just the joy that I just had so much joy just from being able to do that. Story's so edgy it can drag down an otherwise 10 out of 10 game. Scary. Yeah, like I feel like they're trying to be something that they're not. The story just has awkward points. 6 is fun, but too many character stories. Maybe cut out Leon and Helena. Ooh, you know what? Maybe, yeah. As well as Ada. Huh. Just leave us Chris Pierce, Cherry Jake campaign. This way we get more focus on the global biowar, etc. Oh, you know, I like that take. Because Chris and Jake's campaign was the strongest after all. And the focus on Chris and the son of his former enemy would make such a compelling story. Yeah, you know what? I can see that. Don't worry, Lulu, you'll tell us what you don't like about Resident Evil 6 when we get to the church. Oh my god, you're right! I think... yeah, I think the unfortunate thing about Leon's campaign was there was a lot of plots, or there was a lot of moments where it was written out of convenience rather than natural progression of the characters' desires. I think that did kind of ruin some parts, but it made me think about the intention of Leon's campaign in the first place, you know? I don't know. Well, maybe we'll talk about it again next time. But yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this at rank B. So we have Resident Evil 6. I'm gonna put Resident Evil 7. I will pick this up and I will put it right here at rank D. I hear that Resident Evil 7 has a lot of praise for bringing life back into the Resident Evil franchise, but I feel like the success of Resident Evil 7 was simply just right place, right time, rather than it being popular because of good writing or for good gameplay. I feel like Resident Evil 7 might be the weakest Resident Evil game in the franchise. Again, its saving grace really was just the right place at the right time. I believe during this era, people were very excited about very hyper realistic games, and Resident Evil 7 basically checked off all the basically hit that market in that era. So that's why it was really popular. I'm not very familiar with games, but I also feel like maybe at the time there wasn't many horror games, very good horror games at the time. I'm not really sure. So not only was it right place, right time, but also the fact that there weren't a lot of competitors was also the reason why it popped off. That part I'm not really sure, but I'm so sure that it popped off because of the whole hyper realistic era of that time. So the fact that it was very unique was probably what made it very popular. Yeah, that's what I think. Another thing that I found the game to be very weak on was the story part. I think introducing Blue Umbrella was maybe a strange decision. I can kind of see why they would do that. Because I feel I have nothing to base this off of, but my gut is basically telling me that whoever was in charge of writing 7, 8, and 9, their main goal was basically 9. And they were trying to decide, okay, how do I get to 9? And so 7 was just ends to a means to an end, and that end was Resident Evil 9. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't know. When I can find a better way to phrase what I'm thinking, I'll let you guys know. But I don't know. I felt like the whole Blue Umbrella was a strange decision. Just the corporation apologizing to everybody in the form of a letter. It was kind of like the equivalent of a significant other breaks up with you through email. Oh no! Oh, be careful, be careful. I have a cat right here. There was a lot of you know how I mentioned like convenience in Resident Evil 6? Felt like there was a lot of that. What did you eat? What did you eat? I felt like there was a lot of convenient characters written out of convenience rather than, again, natural progression. I remember at some point in the game, Zoe got really... I remember at some point you got the syringes, right? The cure to getting both Mia and Zoe out of there. I remember at that point, for some reason, Ethan picks up both syringes, even though one of them was clearly for Zoe. He picks up both of them, which is kind of weird. And then you get into the whole fight with the dad, and then you hear Zoe yell from outside of the room, telling you to use the cure on her dad. And so Ethan's like, what? Okay. And he does it, and he turns into dust. Well, now he comes back, and everyone's like, oh, you used the cure? Oh, okay. Well, you kind of have the cure, so what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna heal me, or are you gonna heal Zoe? You know, there's that whole dilemma, right? I thought that thing was so weird too. Because it's like, obviously Ethan would pick his wife. I'm not sure why he would pick anyone else but his wife, right? So there's that inconsistency that felt really weird. But when you do pick Mia, what I don't understand is why Zoe was so offended with that. Because first of all, she was the one that gave you the advice, told you to use the cure on her dad. So that was basically her saying, yeah, I give up my freaking cure for you to do this. Unless she was trying to imply that, yeah, I want you to use your wife's cure to stab my dad in the face. You know, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And also another thing is, why would Zoe get offended for Ethan choosing his wife over her, you know? So there was just a lot of weird convenience thing that I feel like this guy tends to do a lot. I'll probably mention it again later in Resident Evil 9 when I talk about Resident Evil 9, but I really didn't like that part of Resident Evil 7. Because all the characters are written out of convenience. All of the characters just felt like plot devices rather than, you know, real people. And because they were written out of convenience, it made their motivations and actions very confusing and inauthentic. Like for example, Mia works... We find out that Mia was a babysitter for Evelyn. But the thing is, why was she working for a bioterrorist group? Does she know that it's a bioterrorist group? And if it is, why is she working for them? Why does she even care to work for them? You know, what are the motivations? We don't really know anything about Mia, and even in Revelation... Sorry, I keep calling it Revelations. And even in Resident Evil 8, we still don't know her motivations for working... for whoever she was working for, you know? Is it just for the money, or is it because you're evil? You know, why? But yeah, all the characters felt like they lacked depth and genuine personal drive, so I didn't really like Resident Evil 7 for that. Not only that, but I also felt like the gameplay was lacking a bit. Nothing really stood out mechanically for me, and the puzzles were okay, but again, they were not memorable to me. So, fortunately, Resident Evil 7 is rank D. I'm sorry. Okay, next is Resident Evil 8. This part is also kind of hard for me to gauge. I kind of want to put it at D, but there were really good parts about Village as well that kind of makes me want to put it at C. So I wish there was a little in between C and D here. I think that Resident Evil Village also kind of has the same problem with 7, where things just kind of happen and Ethan is kind of dragged along to the plot. I really think the positive points of Village really is the art. The art direction was freaking beautiful. I think the map design is very nice as well. The whole castle thing, the lake thing, the puppet, they were all really cool. And yeah, I guess the mob fights, I feel like the fights in Village was a little bit more fun in 8 than it was in 7. But yeah, that's why I kind of want to put it on a higher level, but I don't think it's a solid C either. It's just kind of like right here. Boom. Also really like seeing Chris here too. He was so cute. Alright. So the next one, finally. Wait a minute, are we missing a game? All right. No, we're not. By the way, is Darkside Chronicles here for a begin? Can't tell. I don't think it's here. Is this it? Not sure. Yes, here we are. Boom. Finally, Resident Evil 9. My God. I have so many complicated feelings about Resident Evil 9. Oh, hello. Hello. What's worse, if you do pick Zoe, you get punished for it. She gets insta-killed by Evelyn, making the whole choice pointless and stupid waste of dramatics. Oh man, I think I will get into that style of writing just a bit with Resident Evil 9 because I've noticed that this guy really has a distinct style of writing that I don't enjoy very much. So with Resident Evil 9, yeah, I have very complicated feelings. I'm very happy with the direction. Yeah, I'm very happy with the direction that it took. This current story focuses on truth, accountability, and change, and most importantly, it focuses on hope. So I really like that. It finally addresses the whole the sins of Umbrella and connections and Spencer and blah blah, and it basically sets them up in the next several games for them to take accountability. It basically sets them up so they finally have consequences for their actions, which is good. I would say it's very good world building. But while I feel like the direction was exactly what I wanted from Resident Evil 9, I think the execution was not done right, and I think I know whose fault that is. And unfortunately, I think the writer might have a writing style that I do not enjoy. I feel like his style is very sensationalist, and he kind of relies on trickery and like cheap tactics to make the audience feel something. You know, instead of maybe doing slow burn or strong character-driven storytelling, he just kind of write scenes to shock or deceive the audience. And I think he does that to kind of make up for maybe his lack of writing skills. Because the characters that he writes, again, like I mentioned in Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, the characters and the scenes that he writes are all out of convenience and not natural motivation. Many of the characters don't really have stakes, they don't have relatable flaws or personal drives, and all the actions that they take really are just convenient for the writer to move the story along. The reason why I really love Resident Evil Revelations 2 so much is that it has everything that 7, 8, and 9 lacks. Barry has strong character motivation, so does Claire, even though her personality is a little stiff and awkward in Revelations 2. Even Claire had really strong character motivation as well. So did Moira. So did Natalia. Well, Natalia was just kind of okay. But yeah, it just felt very very weak. Excuse me. Like, for example, I remember, for example, we have Grace, who is introduced as an FBI analyst who has a tragic backstory. Her backstory is that her mother got killed by a stalker who is associated with Victor Gideon, question mark. So she has a reason. She has a reason to be investigating the Raccoon City murders and the events, but she doesn't want to. Does that make sense? She doesn't want to, and it's kind of clear with her body language and how she kind of treats this whole mission. Like, even though her mother got killed and the killer is somehow associated with the Raccoon City events, she doesn't go out of her way to really investigate that. In fact, the only reason that she does is because someone else told her to. And even then, she's just kind of like, oh, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. And I understand that it's a PTSD. I understand that it's like a PTSD moment for her, but I don't know. It just didn't feel like an authentic moment from her. Does that make sense? Yeah, so then they add this whole convoluted plot about Grace actually being a key to Spencer's experiments, only to find that all of that was actually scrapped and it doesn't matter because she's a normal person. Like, the writer throws in all these overly, not even complicated either, because it's not really complicated. It's just extra noise to fill in something that's not actually solid. Does that make sense? Hang on, I'm like kind of all over the place. I want to like address 5,000 things at once right now. I'm like right, so first I was talking about the whole convenience thing. It's just convenient for her to be involved with all of this, when I feel like all of the story that all of the plot that he introduced doesn't really, we didn't even need to do all that, you know? Especially if you're just gonna scrap it all in the end, then why even introduce all of this in the first place? You just kind of like wasted the entire game, you know? How I would have fixed this problem is that Resident Evil 9 should have made Grace as a journalist and not a FBI analyst. And the reason for that is because as a journalist, she must have some sort of motivation to be a journalist. Why does she want to cover Raccoon City events? And maybe it's that her mother died, her mother was a victim. Or it could also be that she has a very humanitarian personality. She sees how families are torn, how homes get taken away from these people, and she just finds it very bizarre that all these events are happening in Raccoon City, but no one ever covers them. So she maybe it's in her human nature to just uncover the truth. She decides like, you know what? It's my duty. I want to make it my responsibility. And I feel like it is my duty as a journalist to make sure that the public knows what's going on, because it's just ridiculous. We don't know anything, and all these tragic events keep happening to us. So already that sets her up to be a very respectable and relatable character. Even though she's scared, even though she's very squeamish, and she's nothing like Chris or Leon, the fact that even when she's scared, the fact that she still commits to her duty and still decides to not run away even in the face of danger makes her such an admirable character. She could run away at any point because it doesn't concern her, but she chooses to stay because she feels like the public deserves to know. So her being a journalist would make her very relatable. She's not a hero like Chris. She's not a hero like Leon. She doesn't know how to do roundhouse kicks, but she does have the need to. She has a very strong sense of duty, and that makes her very admirable. Not only that, but her being a journalist will be really fitting for the gameplay of Resident Evil Requiem. I believe someone in chat mentioned that darkness, like blind darkness, was an actual game mechanic in the story, which goes so perfectly with Grace's story. If she is a journalist who is uncovering truth, her holding a lighter in a room full of darkness would be symbolic for her. She's trying to uncover truth that Umbrella or whomsoever is trying to cover, and it fits so well. Not only that, but her being a journalist would make her a prime potential target to connections or any other evil organizations, because they're like, who the hell is this bitch trying to, like, you know, there's this annoying girl who's trying to, like, bridge the gap between the public and the government or the evil organization, and we can't have her doing that because we're gonna get found out. So that makes her a prime target. And a bunch of evil guys can go after her. So now we have the plot. That can be one natural way to get the plot moving. Not only that, but maybe because she's so good at investigating, that maybe the DSO or Chris's Wolfpack also gets wind of it and is like, oh my god, we need her information. We gotta protect her. We gotta, like, we gotta find out what information she must have on these evil organizations. So not only that, but we also have all these people who have some sort of connections with Grace. So she doesn't have to be an FBI analyst anymore. She doesn't have to be like Spencer's adopted child. We don't need any of those unnecessary plot that you were going to scrap anyway. She could just be a plain old journalist, and immediately all these characters have some sort of connection with her. Not only that, but by making her a journalist, I also feel like it touches up on the whole real world commentary about how journalists are always in danger because of the truth that they're trying to uncover. So that's where I feel like we could have probably fixed the whole Grace's story. She can still be a normal person, and she can still be the center, like the person of interest for all these different characters, and we don't have to do any of that complicated stuff, right? So yeah, that's why I have a very complicated relationship. Sorry. That's why I have a very complicated feeling about this game, is that I enjoy the fact that Grace is a normal person, and I enjoy the fact that there has been change and accountability that's finally shown in these games. But because, again, I feel like maybe this writer is kind of incompetent. He relies, again, like I said, sensationalist techniques to draw the audience in, to make them feel like something happened, but in reality, none of this actually happened, and none of this really matters. Does that make sense? I need water. I also feel like this guy doesn't really know how to write woman. But I think that can be a rant for next time. But this is just a random thought that I had. I'm not really sure if I want to like really explore it that much, but it made me think that if they were going to create Elpis, which was a cure for all of these viruses, all of these evil things that everybody created, at least it's a cure for everything that Spencer created. If that was the case, I feel like a game where we see Rebecca actually be an employee of Umbrella. I feel like maybe a game about Rebecca being an Umbrella would have been really, really interesting at that point. Because we all know that Wesker had a photo of Rebecca in his drawer and then in that book that one time. So it's clear that he has his eyes on Rebecca, right? Me personally, I feel like he has his eyes on Rebecca for her intelligence and for her medical. I think it's medical because she's like a support, right? I think he has her eyes on her because of her intelligence and her medical prowess. And so if that was the case, I felt like that would be really, really interesting to see a game where Rebecca does get recruited in Umbrella, but Rebecca doesn't know that Umbrella is actually very evil. So she just joined Umbrella and she's like, oh my god, this is so cool. First day at the job, kind of nervous, but I'm excited to help the world. You know, she kind of has like the rookie personality. But as we progress through the story, she realizes, oh my god, why are we doing human experiments? Oh my god, why are they turning into red blobs? What the heck is happening? You know, I want her to kind of uncover the truth that this is actually not a normal pharmaceutical, and she's actually playing for the bad guys. I feel like it would be very interesting to see her kind of be a formidable opponent against Wesker instead of being a formidable ally, like the way that Wesker had hoped her to be. And so the whole Elpis being created by Spencer, I think that whole plot can be kind of scrapped and given to Rebecca as well. But again, this is just kind of like the whim that I had. But it just made me think, because I think a part of me doesn't really sit well with the fact that Spencer made the Elpis thing. Like, I don't know why it doesn't sit right with me. I'll like think on it more and try to expand on it later. Something just doesn't sit right, and I feel like maybe the creation of Elpis should have been under Rebecca or some other guy instead. Oh yeah. So that's why I did not really enjoy 9. Again, I really like the direction that it took. It only made sense. We need to have a protagonist that's not a superhuman like Chris or Leon. And we needed to have a story about change. So it was exactly what we needed. But again, we need to have a different writer. I think I do not like this guy very much. Yeah, I think another thing that I was a bit frustrated by was the whole convenience thing, right? I found it very weird that, you know, Connections thought that Grace was a key to Spencer's experiment just by assumptions alone. And it goes into the whole convenience writing thing, right? But if that logic was to be true, then that means that some guy in the street can be like, "Oh, I'm actually Mr. Wesker's reincarnate. Yeah, it was actually Wesker took over my body when I was just in the elevator that one time, and now I'm Wesker." Some guy could easily say that, and that would mean the DSO would be on him. That would mean that the connections would be on him, Umbrella on it. That means that everyone would, based on that logic alone, would mean that everybody would be kind of like, "Oh my god, that guy's Wesker's reincarnate," and like truly believe him. Because again, that's just how this guy's writing works. You know what I mean? So yeah, there was a lot of inconsistencies. So it makes me very conflicted. Based on the message alone. Oh, and based on the gameplay, I feel like this would easily go on S or A. But because of this guy's history writing, I feel like it could also go down easily over here as well. I'm trying to find a good compromise. Maybe in B or A. That's where my dilemma is at. Aside from that guy's writing, I do think that the gameplay was pretty fun. It wasn't enjoyable doing melee, especially with the hatchet. I think it's because there's kind of like a slow... I think the impact effect kind of ruins it. If maybe the melee was a bit more like Resident Evil 2, where there was no impact effect and there was no slowing down or whatever, maybe it would have been a bit more enjoyable. But aside from that, the whole chainsaw scene was really cool. The motorcycle scene was really fun as well. And even despite my complaints about the characters, about the writing, I like the introduction of Victor Gideon. I think he was such a funny little character. He was even, I feel like he was even moe at times. Like, it was so, it was so nasty that, like, there was a slight gap moe. Like, this guy can ride the motorcycle, and he's kind of like a lapdog of Spencer. And he's kind of like, he kind of has like a drip. He likes to wear rings and stuff. Like, there's a clear gap moe with this guy. And I ended up really liking him. Oh, and then, what's his name? Zeno was really cool too. I still don't understand how he became like the clone of Wesker. Why they did that, and why he had to die like that. You know, all of that was really confusing to me, but I'm assuming that if they made one clone, there might be 1,000 more, so maybe it doesn't really matter. But I still like the introduction of Zeno. I thought he was very handsome too. And Leon was very handsome as well. Oh, and Sherry! It was really cool seeing Sherry again. But yeah, that's how I feel. And I think I remember I saw a comment somewhere on my last stream where someone was saying that they also felt a little... There were some parts where it didn't really make sense. But I think the next couple Resident Evil games are gonna be remakes, right? Is what I heard. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I'm kind of looking forward to that. A remake of Revelation... Sorry, I keep calling it Revelations. A remake of Resident Evil 5 would be so hype. I'd be very excited. Let me catch up with chat. By the way, Lulu, did you catch Leon's wedding band in Resident Evil 9? It's on his left hand. I did. I actually found out this morning. I wasn't sure, cause I was like, maybe it's a decorative ring, maybe it's not. But then like someone was like, oh no, it's a wedding ring for real. I was like, huh? The video that I saw was Leon taking off his gloves and throwing it on the ground, and I saw him wear the wedding ring. I was like, oh my god, you're married. You know what? Whoever he is married to, I hope he's happy. That guy deserves to find happiness after everything. It's a very hopeful thing. I'm glad that he found love. Like how Xion and Victor have no real way to lose even if they fail. Yeah, exactly. Like what do they lose or what do they even gain, right? Hello, welcome in FX! Hello Lulu and chat, literally just finished Resident Evil 9. Dude, congrats! Dude, congrats! Hope you enjoyed the game. Redcon 9 retcon the nuke. There's more you could say, but that alone is a head scratcher enough to grasp that something is funky with the plot of 9. I think at some point in this story, the progression of Resident Evil 9, they were saying that actually the nuke was not ordered by whatever. It was actually this. I was like, what is bro going on about? I was like, but I'm gonna try to let them cook. I'm gonna let them cook. What the hell sends a pencil pusher, even an FBI, to the field work in the place where she was traumatized? I know. It made no sense to send Grace out into the field as data analyst. That was weird. Yeah, it was a little like I said, it's just weird, and I feel like maybe if she was a different role, it would have been more fitting. Cause yeah, she'll be in danger, but she wants to be there and she needs to be there, right? You watched the Resident Evil live-action films? Grace is essentially Alice, but without the kick-butt super spy soldier capabilities. Oh, I never got to watch the live-action films. Only the animated ones. But I still haven't watched the Netflix animated film. Sorry, animated mini episodes of Claire and Leon. Oh, hello. Excuse me. Excuse me, I can't see the screen. Right. And before I close this conversation, or before I close this Resident Evil Requiem talk off, I wanted to also mention, I wanted to know what part of this entire game was the 789 writer's idea, and which one of it was the original team's idea? I'm guessing maybe all of it. Just want to know. Oh yeah, that's right. There's also a plot hole. Victor, Zeno, etc. were in cahoots with the federal government. Grace was working in the FBI, so they should have been able to find her much sooner. It's true, it's true. That's a good observation. Yeah, you're right. You said you were in cahoots. Absolutely, you should have given her a partner to investigate with her. Maybe Leon? The escort that never dies? That never gets killed? I liked watching Resident Evil 9, but in hindsight, I don't know what it was about. Yeah, it was, again, I mean, Resident Evil 9 had really fun parts. The melee was pretty fun. Some parts of the story was enjoyable to watch as well. There are some flaws too, right? They did find her sooner. In the files, they said they couldn't get to her because she works too much. What? Really? I did notice how much more awkward Grace's PTSD is compared to Leon's. Yeah, it was... Again, I know PTSD looks so different for everybody. But even still, like, PTSD works... has a way... has a pattern that it works. And for Grace, her PTSD just works a little awkwardly compared to the other characters, you know? For Chris, his PTSD comes out in irrational... It comes out as impatience. It comes out as anger. So the reaction to that, his response to his PTSD is to act. He's a very reactive, angry character. For Leon, he's also a very self-driven character, but his PTSD comes in the form of silent suffering and drive. So that pushes him to very dangerous situations. The thing is, Leon comes out of it because he's kind of a badass, right? So that's how his PTSD works. With Grace, how I'm viewing it as is, it comes out as fear. But at that point, it's like, I don't know. This is where I'm head scratching because it's like, I don't... She's scared, but she still kind of does it, but then she also kind of blames Leon, and now she's not blaming Leon anymore. She's not mad, and it's just all over the place. And again, PTSD is messy like that, but it just does not. I don't know why it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense with Grace. I would like to know how Sherry's infected if she has super healing from the G virus. Yeah, that's what I want to know too. I was surprised that she was infected. I thought she was like superhuman and had super healing. Leon parries rocket launchers and cars? Wait, so is it possible to parry the car and rocket launcher in Resident Evil 9? Hang on, I have to go back and try it now. I'd say C. The poor plot of retcons hold it back, but your list, your choice. The thing is, as I was playing through Resident Evil 9, before this whole plot twist happened, I was writing in my notes like, oh, I wish that Grace was a normal person and that accountability happened and they didn't do any, didn't go back on any of the plot that the previous Resident Evil games had put down. I wish all this happened. And the thing is, my wish did come true, but the journey there was just a little awkward. So I'm just like, do I put it at B because my wish came true, or do I put it in C for for its plot holes? I need a remake of 5 to understand Resident Evil 9? Oh? Gideon is a really neat villain. Oh, you know what? Wait, everyone enjoyed Gideon as a villain. Okay. I was a little nervous mentioning that I really like Gideon. But if everyone liked them, then that's a relief. Yeah, he was a pretty intimidating and interesting character, right? Yeah. They loved making everything over the top. It was amazing. I agree. I think that's one of the appeal of Resident Evil 9 too. I'm glad that there were very serious moments, but you needed to have over the top moments to make it a Resident Evil game. That's another thing I really like about this franchise. It's the avant-garde-esque action scenes. Oh. Oh. You can parry the car. I'm going to lose my mind. We have to try now. We have to try. If you parry the car, you still get damaged. But if you parry the rocket, you send it back to Gideon. I need to try it now. I want to parry the rocket and send it back to Gideon. I need to see him eat shit. That would be so funny. Which do you prefer? Parry, dodge, or defense items? Defense item as in like the knife and grenade? Because I absolutely prefer knives. And I prefer knives for the parry. I really liked him. The game really was more enjoyable whenever he was on screen for me. I agree. Cause he was kind of like aura farming a little bit. You would show up on screen and like you kind of lean forward in your chair like, okay, what do you have to say? What crazy lore drop will you be dumping on us? And he's like, you'll have to find out next time when you catch me. And he disappears. Throw the rocket back like a boss. It was so fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that whole second part of the game was really enjoyable. Although the first part of the game was also fun as well. Parry Resident Evil 9. Dodge. Resident Evil 3 Remake. or defense weapons. Resident Evil 2 remake. Oh, which one of these do I prefer? Definitely not dodge. Oh, thank you for the reactions, by the way. I appreciate the support. Thank you, thank you. Oh, dodge Resident Evil 3 remake. Right. Oh man. I would pick defense weapons for Resident Evil 2 remake. The parry was good in Resident Evil 9, but the parry was awesome in Resident Evil 4 remake. It's just so cool. I remember in my Resident Evil 4 remake playthrough on this marathon, I tried to see if I can parry the... It was like a boar man, and he had like the machine gun, and he goes da 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 at a fortress, and you could parry that with a knife. And I saw that in the video, and I was like, I want to give it a try. So I gave it a try, and it actually worked. And I was like, holy crap! I think this is one of the parry is so fun in this game. Parry Resident Evil 9 itself. Oh wait, the introduction of Mr. X was kind of fun too. When he just pulled off the rocket launcher on the bike, it was cathartic. I'm really glad that the defensive items evolved so well since Resident Evil 1 remake. I agree, yeah. How Resident Evil 9 takes everything from Resident Evil, from the previous Resident Evil, is, and how they evolve it is really interesting. You can parry the dude that shoots all the arrows. Yeah, it's so fun. I need to play it now just to do it again. It is so fun. Can't wait for you to experience it. This game did a lot of nostalgia baiting, not gonna lie, but I did appreciate it. Yeah, the callbacks were okay. It was fun. But yeah, that is my Resident Evil tier list. We have, unfortunately, 7 and 8 on the bottom. Although that is not to say that 7 and 8... it's not to say that these two games don't have good parts, because they do. The art direction for both games is really good. Melee can be fun at times. Resident Evil 3 remake is at a C. Revelations Resident Evil Revelations 6 and 9 are in B. Resident Evil 0 and 5 are in A. And obviously, on the rank S, Resident Evil 4 remake is up there. Resident Evil 1 is up there. 2 is up there too. And our new addition is Revelations 2. It is genuinely so good. But the thing with these lists is that they can change over time. So maybe over time Revelations will be down to A. Maybe Resident Evil 5 will be at S. Maybe this will be at S too. You know, it can change. So I'm excited to see how I view these games later in the future. Tell you, I play Resident Evil 4 remake on professional with the infinite knife because learning to perfect parry was so cool. That's That's what I want to do. I want to try completing Krauser's segment on professional, just to do the perfect parry. And I want to try no damage. It just seems like this kind of challenge that seems really fun. Pretty sure in Spencer's office towards the end, there's a painting on the wall with the M in the corner. So I'm assuming it's a painting for Miranda. Oh, what? Interesting. That's a very interesting way to tie in Resident Evil 8. But imagine imagine it's actually Mario. Mario from Super Mario Sunshine. You know what Resident Evil 9 needs? More extra content. Having no mercenaries or extra modes like that is kind of weak, not gonna lie. Oh, do they always release extra content like this on the same day as the release? Because again, I keep telling I told my chat this before, but I've never played a game on release before, so this is all new to me, you know? So I'm not really sure what really happens on release date. Do they usually release it like a year later or what? My top 3 is always Resident Evil 2 Original. Oh, Resident Evil 1 Remake. Oh, and a tie between Resident Evil 4 Original and Remake. Oh, good choice, good choice. I keep telling chat this. I need to play the original for Resident Evil 2 and 3. I need to see what content they cut out. Do you plan on playing every game in the franchise? I do. I want to... Well, actually, not every game, but... I want to play certain games. For example, wherever Darkside Chronicle is. I for sure want to play Darkside Chronicles for the Krauser story. I want to play Code Veronica. Is this Resident Evil 2? I want to play that. Is this Resident Evil 3? I want to play this. Obviously the OG Resident Evil 4. I don't know what this is. I was told that one of these games, I think it's Resistance or Reverse, was not a good game. Because apparently one of this is like a Dead by Daylight or something. Umbrella Corps. So those are the games I want to play. I want to play Code Veronica. OG2, OG3, OG4. Darkside Chronicles. For sure. Resident Evil 8, I believe, had mercenaries on launch. Oh. Mercenaries on Resident Evil 8 is the one where you can play as Lady Demetress, right? But from 7 onwards, they added it later. Some free content first and some paid DLC later. Oh. What DLC are we gonna get for Resident Evil 9? You can get the original trilogy on GOG at 30, I think. What? I will look into it. But the original trilogy, the original Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. Start with original Resident Evil 1 because just the voice acting alone is sheer S tier. You can check a video compilation on it. Huh? What? Wait, so does that mean that the voice acting in Resident Evil 1 remake, they updated that? That's not the original. Oh, I have to check it out then. Resistance was actually quite a neat thing and it had support for a while, then they pulled the plug on updates. Oh really? So it was actually good. Maybe I remembered it wrong. You should also play Resident Evil Director's Cut. It has the best piece of music in the franchise, the mansion basement theme. Oh really? You mean that? Yes? Oh, yes to playing Lady Demetress, right? Interesting. Man, speaking of DLC, I still gotta do Ada's story. I gotta do Separate Ways. And I'm missing one other DLC. I think in Resident Evil 5, I still haven't played the Chris and Jill segment. So I need to get TL on that too. First it was only Ethan on Resident Evil 8 Mercenaries, then when Gold Edition came out, they added Chris, Demetra... Chris! Oh, that would make a lot of sense. I think Chris's segment in Resident Evil 8 was really fun. Yeah, it's completely different voice acting. The original voice acting is super cheesy. Oh, it was a huge snake. And also poisonous. The voice acting in Resident Evil 1 and 0 was already so cheesy. I can't believe it gets even more cheesier. You're from stars. And Chris laughing at the tyrant. Oh man. Oh, Resident Evil Chris is so moe. Also, would definitely have to see Lulu's reaction to the mansion basement theme. Basement theme? What is this mansion basement theme? Now I'm intrigued. No, I've always been curious about Resident Evil Gaiden. This guy looks like Leon. Well, trust me, it's something. Aww. ... Look it up, please. I want to, but I kind of also want to experience it authentically. Original Chris laughing in Wesker's face is every reason why Wesker hated Chris. Oh, really? Oh, you don't like being laughed at, Wesker? Especially by Chris. Gaiden has Leon and Barry as main characters. Oh, Barry, you're a main character in other games too. Interesting. That's good to know. Oh, Barry, I miss you. Alright, well, we went over all of the games for the marathon. And I think it's safe to say that I've thoroughly enjoyed this marathon. Again, even with its flaws, I still love this franchise very, very much. And I am looking forward to the next time I get to do this marathon again. Oh, I enjoy it so much. And maybe the next marathon, instead of doing the Resident Evil 4 remake, I can maybe just do the original. Maybe we'll change things up. But we could safely say that the marathon is complete. And after 3 weeks, we finally put an end to this. Yay! So I want to thank everyone for accompanying me in this journey. And I hope you guys will look forward to the next time I do this. For sure, I need to go back and do the Resident Evil 2 knife run in a shorter time. I also so badly want to do some sort of a challenge run with Requiem. It's just, it has a really good, like a fun speedrun challenge to it. I gotta do it. I don't know. There's a lot of things to do with Resident Evil franchise, so we'll always come back to it. Thanks for playing this marathon and surviving with us. Thank you guys for surviving with me too. It was very enjoyable. I'm just glad that I'm able to finally experience the Resident Evil games. And like I mentioned with Resident Evil 0 and 1, what really makes this marathon so fun and memorable for me is really the company. So I appreciate everyone coming by and hanging with me and talking with me. But Resident Evil, it's been truly fun. But I think we'll try dabbling in other games as well. For example, I gotta do Silent Hill games. It's also apparently really good. I gotta do Silent Hill. Then I also gotta do Oh, thank you, Zach, for the super chat. One more, cute. Thanks for the Resident Evil marathons, Lulu. You made these games so much fun to watch. Oh, I'm glad to hear. I'm so glad they have just been so fun. Oh man, this always happens. I'll start the marathon and I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then it comes to an end and it's like, oh, but it's already over so soon. But that just means that I have something to look forward to next time, right? What was I saying? All right, I gotta do Silent Hill games. Apparently, Silent Hill 2 is a really good one, so I need to get around to that. I was also told that I should probably do Tomb Raider games. I believe I have what Tomb Raider do I have? Let me see. I'm pretty sure I had a oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, I just have literally a game called Tomb Raider. This used to be like one of my favorite games when I was like really young, so I really want to get around to that. And of course, there are many survival horror games out there that I have to play. Like for example, Dead Space, right? And I believe someone also recommended me item management game as well. There's just so many. There is just so many. So we will continue more horror games. The residents are no longer evil. The evil has been defeated. You think Leon is cheesy with his one-liners? You need to experience the original Resident Evil 4 Leon lines. Yeah, I'm really excited to meet the characters in the original RE4. I want to know how cute Ada is in the original and how cute Ashley is. I gotta see how sassy Leon is in the original as well. There's still lots of content left to explore. Lulubelle, theory about tricell virus parasite mold. They're in charge of everything. What, the mold? Tricell. Yeah, tricell is like they're like another But they're like a sister organization to Umbrella. Tomb Raider? No way! That would be awesome! Oh, you like Tomb Raider! Yeah! I think the Tomb Raider is my favorite one. There was also a winter Tomb Raider that I really liked. I will need to look into that as well. Yeah. Well, look forward to it, everybody. For now, I must go. It's time for me to go to bed. So, I will catch you guys next time. Oh, wait, I have, what am I doing tomorrow? I have a stream tomorrow. Because we finished everything a little bit earlier, I guess the stream tomorrow is gonna be a surprise. So, look forward to it. Maybe we'll do something comfy. Maybe we'll do something horrifying. We will see. But yeah, it is time for this maid to go to bed. I'm so epic. But thank you guys so much for coming by and chatting. It was really fun getting to know your guys' thoughts on the Resident Evil 2. And hopefully there's more in the future. Alright, it was a pleasure serving you all, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!